Hey guys, fixing to go over the AAPC CPC exam questions. Try to do the practice of elimination. Let's see who we have in. Do we have anybody in the live yet? They put all this darn stuff up at the top here now. It's hard to see. My planet missions. If you click on each planet, it'll tell you a little story about the planet or what it's about. So I thought that was kind of cool. I accidentally did that the other day. Whew. I keep getting things from people asking all the time about what can I write in my books. And my teacher said, and all this lovely stuff. So I wanted to remind everybody that you can write in your ICD10 and CPT books. Even the official guide from says inside it in several places to move this info to your books and get it to there. Stuff like this, Medicare Part A, B, and C. If you don't have those written out inside your book somewhere so that you can find it later during the middle of your exam, sometimes, you're like a deer in headlights and you've got so much writing on this exam and you just forget the simplest things. I always recommend writing everything you can in your book so that you have it. Just make sure you know where you put it. But you can absolutely write in your books. Even their recommendation is to go into your books and add some of that information in there. They recommend it in multiple places in this study guide. I think I've got it written in multiple places in here that you can absolutely write it. And if you go into the very front of these books and look at there's an instruction page on how to use this book. It'll say the same thing. This is from AAPC. These are the instructions that the proctors are supposed to read out loud, to the examees as they're taking their exam, and it does say that you can have writings and highlight in your book is allowed. They just can't, you can't take this and maybe white out. People have gotten really creative sometimes. And what they'll do is take a whiteout marker or whiteout paint, I'm sorry about my camera. Sometimes it is just so unhelpful here. There we go. And they'll take some of these pages in the front of the book and they'll just paint it all white. And then they'll add their notes on it. They don't want you doing that. And they've tried to instruct people not to do that or to add extra pages into these reams. Don't do that either. Like, don't take this table of contents and paint over it white and then use it as a note sheet. Don't do that. But absolutely, you have pages in here and pages and pages in here that are for notes that you can use it. Even these instructions for using this book for your credentialing says you can absolutely bubble, highlight, mark, move guidelines around, put them where you want to. And it also says down here, the very last, second to the last paragraph, should you fail, you get to take a retake within the next 12, before the 12 months is up, a free repeat exam too. So this is part of the AAPC's ICD10 book, in case you were wondering where that page was in your ICD10 book. But just wanted to remind people that a lot of misinformation gets passed around, and you need to speak up for yourself or just ignore what's being said on certain things and just let it go and know that you can write in your book anyway. Absolutely. Even, the instructions on how to use these books is even very clear on what needs to be done in these books. Front of the CPT book, I'm looking at page XIV. Even shows you how and where to highlight, underline, star. This is all under the instructions for using this book. So even the book will tell you, and this one's straight from the AMA and not AAPC, but you can absolutely write in your book. Just don't white any pages out. You do even have pages that are directed towards notes, pages and pages of those. Don't forget about that kind of stuff. And don't be fooled by misinformation being shared out there. You can absolutely write in your books. And to remind you when you are stuck in a rut and you are extremely tired and just cannot go over one more guideline, and you are done bubbling and marking and underlining and adding examples into your book, and you don't want to code one more thing, but you don't want to completely stop working on studying for your exam, don't forget you can reverse search these body parts, and you can add to the anatomy. And this is what I call coloring, and that will see you through the tough times when you are not wanting to code anymore. You can just simply add to your anatomy. It's super helpful because when you look back, you'll end up doing a lot for yourself and for the books, and you can really not feel like you just completely gave up and that you stopped working or coding for a month, that you actually did a little something. And then it could look pretty impressive if you just mindlessly, it's not that I learned anything here, I just reverse Googled this picture and added where they said liver or something else. I just added a little bit of more information to some of these parts. Just copying. I'm just not reading, like for word, like trying to understand what I'm reading. I'm just copying information down. And it looks cool. Some of it may get retained, and then the more you add, the more you review, the more you get familiar with seeing terms. I just, thought it was helpful adding to some of the anatomy pictures when I was not in the mood to code anymore. And then I didn't feel so bad about not coding or working on those particular examples when I was done with all this. This picture in your ICD, I did not update this, but this would be an excellent one to update when, I'll show you in just a sec. Let me pull this picture up. I have this lovely little screenshot of the brain and ears, sort of like this one, but it'll tell you what the body part is and what its function is, just something small. That's the ear one. Let me find the one for the brain because it's super cool. It just says, you know, medulla for balance, that kind of thing. One little word added to each part of this would be so helpful during the exam. I should have updated this one for mine and didn't. I know y'all have seen it because I keep sharing it all the time. But of course, I can't find it when I want it. I've been moving stuff in my phone to coding folders, thinking it's gonna be helpful to have it in spaces that are actually designated for coding class for you guys. But then now I don't know where nothing is. I love these things that specifically tell you small bits of information because, like, did you know that C1 through C3, of course, they're muscles, neck muscles, but C4 controls your diaphragm, C5 deltoids, C6 wrist. Isn't that interesting? It's very cool. Has the nerves that run down to that. I'm not sure AAPC would get that involved in that, but I love that one. Here's my brain. So one word and what it does. That's what needs to be added to this thing in the ICD-10. So that I have seen questions about what does the cerebellum control in the body, taste, that kind of thing. That would be helpful to add here. You just got to be able to find the information super fast when you're in the middle of your exam. That's the hard part. Move this one out of the way. How's everybody doing Friday night? Everybody doing okay? I know we have somebody taking their exam tomorrow, for sure. Don't forget about your cheat sheet modifiers in the front of your CPT book. Any other modifiers you've never run across, they might ask you about. Don't forget all those are in the HitPix book. My other information about the HitPix book that is helpful is, of course, all your modifiers are in the covers, the front and back cover. And then don't forget to make sure you know exactly, specifically, what HitPix stands for. Don't forget about that it updates quarterly, not yearly. And here on page 7 of your book, if you're in 2021, the third sentence lists the Balanced Budget Refinement Act of 1999, and that's how HitPix came about. So make sure you know something about that law or where to find the date for HitPix. We've got our glucose rental machine, HitPix code that has been popping up on our exam recently. So make sure you know where that is in the book. There's always so much to make sure you know. Don't forget in the CPT book, there is a calendar of dates when things are updated and when they're published and actually go into effect here in the front of the book. And you also have some vocabulary terms, anatomy terms, and you have body positions for radiology. I wish these were back there in the radiology section. Some AKAs you should know is like dorsal means the top of the hand or the top of the foot. Palmar means the bottom of the foot or hand. Posterior means the back side of you. And I know you know that means like butt, but don't forget that it means your upper back, like in between your shoulder blades. And anterior is your chest. That's where you would perform CPR, right there at that breastbone. So anterior is that. Favorite modifier for E&M section, of course, is 25. Don't forget about that. Also, you might need a conversion table for grams to pounds and ounces for your E&M section. We've got 3 codes for very premature baby birth. In the CPT book, the codes are listed in grams, but your question from the AAPC CPC exam is going to say the baby weighed like 1 pound, 2 ounces right here. Your 99478 codes, I'm on page 60 of the CPT book. Be sure you have a conversion calculator up here so that you know how to, it's just one question, but it's been a while since we've all been in school, and I don't even know if we memorized it back then when we were in school, so be sure you know how to convert grams to ounces to pounds. So be sure you know how to do that. Fix your out of sequence codes by putting the page numbers down on all the red codes throughout the entire book of the codes that are out of sequence. Like the front of the book tells you to do, you are going to move on to these. Let me show you an example real quick. You are going to be sure and box your parent and child codes just like this. Your core code, parent code, will be indented farther over towards the CPT code. The child code that goes underneath it will be indented out towards the right-hand side and will be a further indentation. Just box those 2 or 3 or 4, or they may even go on to another page, another column. What I do when that happens is I draw arrows down, and then when they're finished, I draw arrows back up to their previous column. That way I capture all of it, and then as the book instructs, you're going to highlight everything after that tiny little semicolon in the parent adult code, and then you're going to highlight what's in the child code. Those are the differences between all the codes. After you get that done, you're going to mark and annotate things that are different about the codes to further differentiate them. For example, I like to circle anything that starts out with a closed procedure in orange, and then I circle green when it is an open procedure so that there's a difference. I can see it right away. Sometimes these procedures are the same thing on the same fracture, on the same body part. The only difference is whether they're open and closed. You just need to be able to pick out the codes super fast. There's a few parenthetical notes that you're going to need to mark on these sections. So once you get through fixing your out of sequences, you've boxed all your codes, you've highlighted. There's a few more things to do. We are going to mark all of our do nots in red. So anytime the parenthetical note, which is a note underneath the code that will tell you that code right there, you cannot use it with these codes because the AAPC will most definitely have that code listed with this possible answer listed also, so that it will confuse you, or they're trying to trick you into picking something that tells you right then and there that it says don't use it. So don't let them trick you. Be sure you check that before you actually run off to code. especially if you have a lot of answers that actually do say something about having other codes added at the end if you see multiple ones. Other things you need to mark in your parenthetical notes are when they tell you to use a modifier or when they tell you to use a code with another code. Here's an example of that. Use this code with that one or through that series. So be sure you mark those in blue. That means you're good to go. I could even mark them in green for good to go. Something that makes them stand out so that during your exam you won't forget. They also put information there when you're supposed to use a modifier or not. Here's an example of for a unilateral assessment when there's only going to be one side was done, and the procedure code is for bilateral included. So to make it unilateral, only one side was done, we're going to add the modifier 52. So when they do tell you to use a modifier, highlight it, because that's a saving grace, because that's always the hardest part, is knowing when you're supposed to use a modifier or not. So once you've got them boxed, you've got them highlighted, you've got them annotated to see what the differences is. I also like to mark a little bit about each of them if I can, like in front of the ear, behind the ear, some little thing that might tell us the differences. A lot of these procedures are like extra, extra, and then they move to intra. So I just put an initial beside them out loud so that it highlights. So I'm not having to read the CPT description. I can see it right there in front of me and know it just by looking at the number. Then I don't have to read the description during the exam. I've already got it annotated right there where I know if I'm only looking for intra, it's only going to be that code because all the E's are up here. Super helpful when you do something like that. I add to the beginning of each section. As soon as it changes another color, I've got a new section. I'll add its prefixes, suffixes, common vocabulary, when not to use modifiers or not per section, and of course add to the anatomy of that section if there's any pictures or areas that could be added to. This is where I like to add the anatomy and the prefixes, suffixes, the abbreviations, and then reverse search their anatomy pics and add to what's drawn there and do AKAs of what certain things are called, and then add special vocabulary. That particular gland, SKENE, was on my CPC exam. What I do have marked in my notes, and you can get a copy of these notes if you want them. It's page by page, but the link's in bio. I don't think you can see it while we're doing the live, but after the live you can click on my picture and it'll come to my main page and it'll take you to a link where you can download these. But I've highlighted all the codes that were on my CPC exam in the pink highlight, so you'll know that those were on my exam. We'll also add examples, coding examples to each page. I recommend doing 2 examples per page. You know you're practicing. You know you're looking at AAPC's practice exam quizzes or stuff on Quizlets. So when you run across a life-threatening diaphoretic laceration that requires resection and complex prosthetic repair, and they coded it as a 39561, why not write that down? Put a little bitty abbreviation about what you just coded, what was the correct answer, what was the scenario around it, and put it down here. You've already read it, researched it, have the answer in front of you, add it to your notes. It'll help you because if you run into a scenario where there was a complex resection and repair where they used a prosthetic, you'll know how they coded it beforehand, and then you'll have it there for your exam. Super helpful there. Let's see. Other things that are helpful besides putting these page numbers down throughout the book is to get a mentor and get to tutoring and all that stuff. Most of y'all know, since you found me here, that that's what I do. I'm trying to find you a updated picture of where everything is. The repeats of these lives where we practice the process of elimination and I show you how to prep your books are all posted on YouTube under Coding by Jen. Sometimes TikTok does not record the lives and there's an error and I lost all that recording, so I can't post them, but most of them are there. They're all dated and repeats of I try to do 2-hour lives 3 times a week for everybody that's taking the exam, all for free, so those are posted there. My Medical Coding by Jen is a website that I show you screenshots of my books. I teach you how to box, how to annotate, how to fix your array, your out-of-sequence codes. I tell you all the things I just told you with screenshots of what it looks like. Those are there under 2 programs there. They're all free. You can go to the website and even just scroll down halfway, and I've got a free E&M quiz there in the beginning of the page, about halfway down. But if you do join the site, I don't collect your info. I don't even look at anything. But you can look at my 2 programs where I've done the screenshots and show you how to do your notes. And I'm happy to teach you how to do your notes without you having to get my downloads at all, whatever is best for you. We also have a Messenger chat group, so if you come find me on Messenger under Jen Brewer, same name as here on TikTok, same profile pic. We have a chat group with 100 folks in it right now. Man, we got a lot of folks in it, and we talk all day. Look at these. They are just sharing tons of information. One person shared a 50-question quiz today, and they were just going to town, working together while I was super busy working on answers and practicing all they could today. It was wonderful to see so much participation and helpfulness. So we all gather and work in there every day. So if you come find me on Messenger and you want to join and you are within like 3 months away of taking your exam, please find me here, Jen Brewer, on Messenger. I think you can download it without having Facebook even. But it's super helpful. I like the chat group. And once you're in there, you can even click on that little eye icon at the top and then go through here and go to photos. And then you can see all the previous information that has been shared by everybody, from coding questions to everything that I've shared, that I've done up for people, the notes, and just every little thing. All my videos are there that I've shared with them, all kinds of stuff that we've talked about. So tons of info there, super helpful group. And it's, if you're just starting out on this process and you just want to learn more about coding, the best place for you is the AAPC Facebook page, which is right here. And this page on Facebook has all the members, everybody who is an AAPC member, and if you just want to find out about medical coding, if you can, what's on the test, do I need any electives, all that first beginner stuff, you'll find all the info here. In their site too, you can search under photos, and you can also search under files. They have tons of files and tons of helpful information, and you can do search for their photos too and see what everybody else has shared too. We got kitty cat photos too. But once you've decided, you've paid for your exam, you are prepping your book and ready to take this exam within the next 90 days, our messenger group is a wonderful place to get the final touches that you need for getting this exam underneath your belt. Absolutely. We do a great job in here, I think, in camaraderie and helping out each other. If anybody is taking their exam this weekend, if by chance you happen to be in your exam and you are trying to decide whether the answer is this code or that code, if you have a chance to circle them and then come back later and share that information with me, next week I can share that with everybody else live on my next TikTok, and you will make a difference in somebody else's lives. Like I'm trying to make a difference here in sharing all I know about the AAPC exam and how to pass it. Sharing info that was currently listed on your AAPC CPC exam will benefit others, and you can make a huge difference. And I encourage you to, if you can, remember maybe even later after you took your exam what vocabulary was on there, or what CPTs or HIPICs or ICD10s. Don't put yourself out. Your exam is so important, and you've paid so much money to get where you're at, and you're taking your exam this week, and you've got enough on your plate. But if you happen to remember anything, what guideline they quizzed you on, any little tidbit is always awesome to share. But let's get to the process of elimination. I was asked about the medication section, and I hate calling it the medication section because this thing has so much more on it than just medicine. This, what they call medication section, has so much information in it. It's got all your eye doctor appointments, your ear doctor appointments, your psychology, your physical therapy, your occupational therapy, your even cardiac procedures are back here, and it's insane what is thrown in this section. It's a lot. It's a lot of stuff. So I don't really like the name of this section, but it's a very difficult section. Lab and path is also very, very difficult, and what makes it super difficult is there's a lot of out-of-sequence codes, and then those codes put the normal codes out of sequence, and the whole thing is just numerically a nightmare. And when you go through the AAPC exam, it is numbers. It's a number game. You are going to be looking at CPT codes staring you at the face, in the face, and you got to pick out which one is the right code for whatever scenario they listed in the question. All you're going to be doing during that exam is running the numbers. It's all numbers, and this book is supposed to be numerically in order. Well, it's not, and you need to fix all those red codes, because the red codes give you a range of other codes to go find those codes that is out of sequence, instead of putting a page number down where it's at. It's a nightmare. You only have 120 seconds from the time the exam starts to finish the exam, and that doesn't even include getting the exam pages open, which they're sealed shut with two gluey things, and you got to open those things. That takes 2 minutes in itself. Unless you bring a letter opener, it's a nightmare if you do it in person. If you do it online, pretty much starts right away, which is helpful, but you're losing time per question every second. If you've got to go to the bathroom, then you're losing minutes off of every question. So 5 hours and 40 minutes seems like a long time, but it will fly. You only have, I say, 90 seconds per question to answer them by the time you get started and stretch and, I don't know, cry a little bit and keep going. The exam is intense and fast, and they're throwing a lot of information at you at one time, and you are responsible for answering anything at any whim of a moment very, very quickly, which is difficult. Let me get your first question going here. And I'm going to read chat since I've been rattling on forever and ignoring it. What's been going on so much? Let's see what everybody's been saying. That's telling me to interact. I know. Hey, Susie Ayers. So when I take my RIHA exam, how should I answer the code questions? I'll go over the process of elimination now. Hopefully you stuck around and were listening to me. I went on the AAPC, and there is no second try. There is a purchase second try, so you can purchase a second try, and when you get your books, I just showed you in your book, and this is the ICD, yeah, from AAPC. This is an ICD-9 book from AAPC, and I don't care what the website says. The official ICD-10 book says on this page, for using this book for getting your credential, second to the last sentence says, should you fail, you may take another exam for the same credential within 12 months at no cost. AAPC will let you know what sections to work on before that exam. It's there in writing. Websites can have errors. Books are published documentation, and you can call them and fight them and get your free test. I don't care whether you take it online or you take it in person, or if you bought one exam versus 2 exams. It's written there on your ICD-10. They're very nice. I've seen them even give people repeat exam test tries for poor lighting or whatever kind of circumstances may have happened. They had trouble understanding their proctor, poor communication skills. I've seen them get repeat exams. I mean, there's never a guarantee in life, but that documentation right there in person trumps anything that would be on a website for me. I think you could get it a repeat. All right, let's see. Hello, coupon, cutie. Whoops, let's see, what did she say? Can we look at path and lab? Yes, we can look at path and lab. Sorry to jump subjects, but how's your finger? My finger has a crushing injury, so when I fell, and I fell with the phone, this was back in July, guys, so it's November, it's crazy. I was holding my phone. It's one of those foldy phones, and I had my poppet on the back, so I had my phone like this, and I fell just like this. Somehow. I either fell like this or I fell like this, but I think I felt like this. But these 2 fingers also hit the curb. So I'm on the ground, but then there was a curb right there. So I have and then these fingers got crushed by the phone because it's pretty thick right there on the back end. Anyway, so I had an MRI in October, went to the doctor, and these 2 fingers I still can't bend. They were pretty permanently straight there for a long time, guys. Remember that? But look how much bending I got into it now. I can bend them that far. Like, you know, I need some more room. I can go that far. So I'm getting there, and I can actually hit a key on the keyboard with this one for typing purposes. So, but you can tell I don't use these two fingers because I have fingernails on those two fingers, right? Because they're still hurting. But anyway, these two joints, my PIP joints, that's what those are. This is your distal end of your finger. This is your middle official medical name. Isn't that funny? And this is the proximal. My proximals still have a lot of lymph node swelling. Isn't that interesting? I know we have lymph nodes, and we have lymph nodes everywhere, but I did not know we had lymph node system going through your fingers. So I still have a lot of swelling in my volvar, VOL, something or another joint. It's down here. And I have to go to physical therapy to get the edema out of these joints and fix the crushing injury. It's not crushing syndrome, but an injury. Crushing syndrome is a autoimmune disorder. But anyway, it's just these two fingers of my left hand. I'm right hand dominant, so that also helped, but it was pretty painful for a while because I couldn't even pick up a cat toy and throw it. Just the action of that was very painful. And I've been typing all of these pages for 2022 so that I'm not drawing on the pages and then you're having to read my chicken scratch, which is impossible to read anyway, for my notes. And I've been typing all of them sections for next year, so I need those fingers back so I can type with them. But I'm so proud of what I've been doing so far. I got me one of those, I've been trying. I was worried and didn't want to move them for the longest until I got the results because I was worried I'd pop those tendons off my joints, and that's why I couldn't bend the joints. So now that she's confirmed that the tendons are still attached, they did not come detached. Everything is attached and there's no fractures, of course. I'm working on it, trying to bend them, trying to get them back to where I can. I've broken tons of bones in my life, and this is taking longer to heal than anything I've ever had broken. It's insane. Insane. I mean, I had a gallbladder and was out the door the next day doing a movie premiere with walking the red carpet with you'll never believe the life I've had. One of the Twilight wolves, do you remember Breaking Dawn? One of the wolves has a scar across his face, right? Well, that's a Native American from Canada. His name's Brandon. He came over to the United States, and I had met Stephanie Myers, and anyway, I was in the group of the Who back then, and he ended up staying 2 weeks with us. I took him to the movie premiere and walked him down the red carpet because his manager, what do they call those people? The people that own actors, I guess, or whatever you call that. Anyway, she had to fly back to Canada and left him here, and he didn't really have a place to stay, so I was fighting to stay at our house. And then I took him, and then we got to go to the after party afterwards. Now, that was cool. But it was so interesting to have done some of the stuff like that made this whole thing possible. It was really weird. But he had the same thing happen to him too. All right. Process of elimination. Let's see. Also, is your prices for tutoring on the website? Well, I tutor here on TikTok for free, and then Messenger chat group every day for free. I make TikTok videos and those YouTube videos. Can y'all still see me? There we go. So that's all free. Now, if you do want me individually one-on-one with just me and my books and notes, then yes, that is on my Medical Coding by Jen website. I do have tutoring hours every day, I think, except for Sunday posted, that you can have me for an hour and a half or something like that. I think it's $27, and we'll go through whatever you want to go through. Usually, if you've had your AAPC CPC exam the first time and you're fixing to take your repeat, then we've got your old scores from your previous testing, and we know which 3 sections we need to go over. Then we can do that. If you're already in an AAPC course and you're struggling with the homework or the coursework, I can help out there. But yeah, that's all on the website too. Stuck on a few. Yeah. Y'all were sharing that quiz. It was so fun. How long do you recommend studying? Like a few weeks or a few months? Well, study. Well, I don't recommend like memorizations or flashcards or even a course. What I recommend is getting their study guide, even if it's an old study guide, it doesn't matter, but the official AAPC, whatever certification you're going to take, little study guide. It's just a workbook thing. And it goes through each section of the exam, tells you all about the laws. It's got all the anatomy in it, all the word definitions, practice questions. I recommend studying that, like reading it and moving the material where you need to. Now, you need to mark up your books. Just doing the books right here is going to take you about 60 to 80 hours to do. And then the ICD10, we got to do those 33 pages of those guidelines, and then you need to move those guidelines to the actual codes inside that book. So there's another, 20 hours there. So you need 3 months. Yeah, you need 3 months easy to study for this exam for sure. I do have sample questions. I do. All those questions about how many exam questions per section and all that stuff can be found on the AAPC website or by Googling. Super easy questions like that. I think we do have a little. I'm trying not to get too distracted today, but I seem to be rattling on. And I'm trying not to. Yeah, I'm not finding it. I know I have a screenshot of some of the girls in chat can tell you, but there's usually just 10 questions per section. There's 5 hit picks, 10 ICD-10s, and then 10 per questions, and then you've got the guidelines and regulations, so something around there. Connor's ready to go. She's keeping A and C. Look at her go. So what she is doing is looking at these answers just numerically. I like 33 and 33, A and D, because they're the same. And then one of them's just LT, and then one of them's not. 36 is super close too, but I would probably get rid of C, actually. Probably. So let's go see what 33 is. 69443. So that's the first step in working a AAPC CPC exam test question. You've got 90 seconds to pick out the answers. So what I like to do is to look at these numerically. AAPC has a habit of giving you 2 crappy answers that don't mean nothing to the exam, and then 2 answers that are going to be so similar there's just a slight difference, like just a modifier or 1 code off from each other. So 69433, where? not in the medicine section, but we're in the 600, 6,000, 60,000s, whatever you want to call it. This section, the eye and ocular, seems to be lower scored than anything on, and it's consistent. No matter who's taking the AAPC exam, through all my mentees that I've been mentoring, this section seems to be one of the lower ones. So I'm always trying to find more questions and go over this section as much as I can. 6433. So we've got, I like to go look at the CPTs before I even read the exam question to see what's going on. So we've got 3.3 and 3.6 that are on our exam that we would keep. Both of them are the same procedure, same name. One of them's local topical anesthesia, the other one is general anesthesia. Now we're armed with key terms to go skim the test question and see which answer is correct. We already have an advantage because we're not going to read that test question like a normal human being would from the very beginning. We've got Maria, who's 57 years old, who's had hearing loss all of her life. We don't want to know nothing like that. We are not going to read any test questions. What we're going to do is take the last word in the test question and we're going to scan with our eyes and do a word search for how the anesthesia is going to be performed on this particular test question, and that's all we're looking for. We're going to find a word match and we're going to pick our answer and move on. We don't need to know nothing about the patient or the test question other than that, because we've already decided and we have clear understanding there's only that one and that one, and this one's the same thing. So we only need to know that. Now right here, make sure you check out your parentheticals because we do have a left modifier. It says for bilateral procedure, report with a 50. That's all we've got. For bilateral procedure, add the 50. So we would add, right, a left or a right if it wasn't bilateral. So we know we're going to need that LT. So the top three that have modifiers are what we're going to be going for. And because we have two LTs, I'm still thinking that that A is going to be right? So we're going to go skim our question. And we've got local anesthesia, so we know it's the 33, not the 36. That was general anesthesia. And we've got left ear, so we know our right ear is bad. So again, A is the right answer for sure. Thanks for the follow, Italian girl. No brains are fried here. You've been on your CPT book all day. I know y'all have worked so feverishly on these. Okay, let's move on to medicine. Don't look at the question as I advance up our thing. All right. So this looks like this is going to be maybe a modifier thing. We've got these 9 3s. Oops, sorry. Sorry, I'm trying to get my mousey back. There we go. Get my pen back. And keep B and C. They're all going to be so close together. I don't see any reason why we can't look at all three. 0, 0, 10, and 15. And be sure we got to check our, why would we use 26 when it's by itself? That would be, I mean, you know, just thinking about that modifier. Remember, I like to look at them numerically, but then I also like to make sure that we look at them logically after that. Would we use that modifier? Professional component, I guess so. Maybe if they were doing something in the office and it needed immediate interpretation, but still, I'm like questioning that modifier being with that code. Anyway, 9.3, let me run to that. 9.3, 0, 0, 0. Is that right? Nine three zero zero zero. Where are we at? 9.3. I got too far. I'm sure it's painful to watch me look through for these things. I am awful at it. I'm not even on the right page. Y'all got to get a whole lot faster than I am at finding these codes. Jeez. Yep, there we are. So we got 0, 0. We don't have 5. We've got 10. 10 is down here, and then we've got 15. 0, 0, and 15 are their own core codes. One of them is a cardiovascular stress test, and one of them is an echocardiogram. So we can definitely eliminate down to that. We can skim our question, electrocardiogram, so we know we're going to keep those 0, 0s, right? We're going to get rid of the 15 for sure. And then the 10, the difference is this one has an interpretation and report only. Okay? So if we're going to, that's the differences between the 0, 0 and the 10. So we're just going to look for the question to see if we're going to have a report, and it does say the word only. So we're going to pick our 10, right? And move on. We're done. We don't need to look up anything else. We don't need to worry about that modifier. This one takes the professional component out of the equation modifier. That modifier wouldn't go there because they're actually going to code a code for it. Because, you know, sometimes that 26 modifiers for interpretations. So, anyway, that was a super cool one. I like that one. All right, let me get my other one up here without y'all seeing it first. There we go. All right, let's look at these numbers. We've got 5, 7, 7, and 8. So we probably just need to figure out if we're going to use 7 by itself or with a couple of times 2, huh? 9, 5, 9. So we'll run off to this one. Oh, 5. Over here. These are under motor sensory nerve conductions. So 05 is our first one. 07 is right here. Is it an add-on code? You remember the ones with the plus symbol beside them? Those are the ones that get the times 2, times 3. If you need to add more units, we usually use the add-on code, so that one answer with the times 2 may not go there because I don't think we'd do a times 2 there. We would add a modifier if we need to change this description to say something different, but I don't think we would add 2. And then the 08 is our other one. So the differences between these three, we've got 3 to 4 studies, 1 to 2 studies, and this one says no modifier 51. It's from my notes, and it has that circle with the line through it. This one already comes with the interpretation in the report. And this one's for each limb. So we're going to skim our question. We've got 2 studies. So which one was 2 studies? Oh, 7 was 2 studies. And we know we don't do this one times 2, right? Because it's not a plus sign. And it is for 2 studies. Simple. Just do B and you're done. Any questions? What are we doing? 72805 is the only code. 713, one set of codes. Sorry, not understanding, Connor, if that's for me. This one's going to be fun. This one's going to be really difficult. And this one's going to be one that I know y'all probably do not know how to code. Okay? Oops. Please don't show you the answers. So if we go to these 934s, these are the dreaded heart catheterizations. So we're in the 929 section. What version of the book do you have, Connor? Oh, you're right, Connor. It is a parent code. My documentation is incorrect. You know, sometimes it needs a third eye. You know, you think you're right all the time. But that will make the 2022 notes much better. This one is the motor and sensory. It's its own parent. These are another set, which are just the nerve conduction studies. And then they're done by however many studies they do. This is its own parent. You're right. My markings were wrong. All right. Y'all need to find some errors on these pages because this is where we're going next. These are intimidating. Let me turn on my light. See if I can get rid of some of my shadow over here. These are always pretty scary. And they have a lot of guidelines right before them that you need to know before you try using these codes. I've tried to have information here and my cardiology heart in my notes. also is labeled for those particular tests. 3, 4, 2, 1. I need to yell at my kids. They're getting really loud. Hold on. Be right back. Oh, Sammy. Travis. Baby, they can hear you. Saying how much you hate people. Look at Sammy. Look at little man. He's so cute. All right. No, you're not going crazy. I am. My notes. Yep. Everybody's human, and I do have errors, so that's super cool when somebody finds them. Love it. Primary vessels and base. There's a hierarchy to all these codes. I'm not sure if any of this is helpful, but I know what I've got in here is super helpful. Like this is just an angio. This is an arterio and an angio. This one is stents and an angio. This could be the arterio or an angio with stents. Angio with kind of like a reversal cabbage, stents, and arteriolo. This is the reversa of the occlusion, and acute PCI with an AMI. Just abbreviating and boxing and then writing a little note is super helpful because I'm not having to decipher the description during the middle exam. I know looking at this page, and I know it looks scary with what I got written on, but I know this is angio and stents. I know this is the arterio, angio, and stents. I know there's a difference here. And I'm not having to read these descriptions during my exam. I've already got it deciphered and written out. So this is helpful if you want a screenshot. So our test question, and I'm sort of just going to teach this so that y'all learn what this is, and instead of process of elimination. I'm going to show you quickly, but then I'm going to show you why it's, anyway, I'm going to do both. I'm going to do both. So when you have one of these questions for these two pages, 726 and 727 of your 2021 CPT book. Let me get my pen. Where's my pen? Just go to the bottom, okay? And you're going to be looking for how am I going to describe this? You are going to be looking for the actual vessels they're doing. This is a, of course, it's a ventriculogram, okay? But I'm trying here. When any of these, okay, I don't know. I probably should have practiced going over this really quick. So the easiest thing to do is count your vessels. We've got your 1 here. They did a comma. They've got this one right here. This is 2. And then this is your 3rd. You see how that last sentence starts with, there's a period there. So your last sentence is where they went and what they did. It's usually always that way on the AAPC exam. So you just need to count how many there are And you'll know that by the commas. So we've got 1, 2, and then we're done, right? So we've got 3 here. That alone should tell you how many CPT codes you have, because if anything starts out with a left heart catheterization, anytime, so this is important, so put this in your book. If you have a left heart catheterization as your approach, by which an interventional procedure is performed, you see here that they are putting in stents. So that's an intervention. These stents are going to hold up the walls of the artery, is what they are. They're little sticks and they hold up the walls, okay? Because the walls are collapsing in on themselves. So anytime you're doing an intervention procedure in the heart and it starts out with left heart catheterization, it is not codable. You can't code it, the approach. The only thing you code is the intervention happening in the arteries it's happening in. Why? I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know what reasoning. I don't know. But anytime there is a left heart catheterization for an intervention to make the heart arteries better, veins, whatever, you don't code the approach or that thingy, right? You only code the things you did in the artery, in which artery they were from. So right here, because I know we have a left approach, we only did 3. Even though it says times 2, ignore that. This only gets 1 code, okay? I could have done times 7, doesn't matter. 1, 2, 3. We're going to have 3 codes in our answer. How many do we have right here? 1, 2, 3, 4, and nope. 1, 2, 3, 4, nope. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No. Another way you can tell also what the answer is going to be, which is going to be a lot help a lot better than the way I just tried to explain this. You see where the modifiers are, where it says RC, LC, LD. Look where that coordinates with right, left, and left. So our first thing in the last sentence went right. So everything that starts out with right could have been a possible answer, right? These 3 all start out with right. Then they took a left-hand turn, so then the next one would have been left. And then the last one was left. But because you don't code the approach, if it comes in on the left side of the heart, you don't code the first thing. You're only going to code the 3 things: right, left, left. And I'm going to show you in your guidelines. Please turn to 725. So what we were doing was this thing is what we were doing, but our test question, right coronary vessel, okay? We were doing a ventigram on the right coronary vessel. In your guidelines, you've got coronary artery branches right here, 3rd sentence down. The left Main and ramus intermedius coronary arteries do not have recognized branches for reporting purposes. What that sentence means is what I said, is that the left heart catheterization is approach by which it's an intervention is not codable. I mean, just deciphering what they're saying in these guidelines is a handful. But what that means is anything coming in on the left for coronary arteries, you do not recognize that approach and you don't report it as a code. So is that helpful at all, guys? I mean, I don't know how many heart catheterizations or things that are coming up on the AAPC exam right now, but if you run into these questions for these codes on 726 and 727, I want you to know that anytime you see something that says left heart catheterization, now make sure you're under coronary, because if you look back at that guideline, we are under coronary. It says the left approach is not codable. So there may be a lot of other approaches in certain questions, and I need to find some more examples of them. And maybe if y'all have some that y'all are practicing on, I can help explain it. But make sure you're in the coronary vessels. And if you're coming in on the left, you ain't coding none of that. You're only going to code what you're doing in whatever artery. It doesn't matter how many. You're going to do your right code, you're going to do your left code, and you're going to do a left code. 3 codes. All you're going to code. So that'll help with the process of elimination here. And luckily, this question only had one answer that had 3 answers. But also, you can look at it a different way, too, by looking at the right, the left, and the left. So you would know anything that started out with the left is just not going to be the right answer. This one might be, okay, this one's left and left. Then what's another right? We didn't go another right. That makes no sense, so I could eliminate that one based off that. We had a right, a left, and a left. That sounds good, maybe. And then we had a right, a left, and a left. And you can see how they're trying to make you think that it's one of these 2 answers. If you didn't have the guideline information in your head to go along with this, to say that the left catheterization approach in any coronary situation is not going to have that whatever gram coded, then you would get it wrong. You would probably pick D, right? So now you know your guideline information that the left side of that heart thingy means you don't code it. It's crazy. It's a very difficult and high level of coding, and I know some people are trying to go into cardiology. So, and why they don't code from the left, I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what reasoning is, and I don't really care. I just want to know what the guideline is and move on with my life and know it from there on out and let y'all know. So, interesting. Yep. Interesting. And hopefully y'all will rock the socks off of something like this. If y'all see it on your exam, you'll know right away, and you'll feel like you've come a long way with that kind of knowledge, for sure. I don't know why are you shaking up and down? Nothing is shaking. Okay. So we've got, I love the zeros here. So when I do the process of elimination, I know the 13th is pretty close to the 10, but I really love the zeros. So I still might consider that one to be an outlier. I don't know. They're all going to be really close together, so we can go look at them. And I can't really hide the question, but the question is a gastric mobility study. And I've seen these on several questions floating around. Has anybody had that already on their AAPC exam? I think they do test you on the gastric study. Anyway, let's go run to that 91010. You like C 91010, and then 13 is right below it, 20's here, and then 30's here. So the differences are, this one's a motility study. This one's with stimulation, right? 20 is a motility one too. This one's gastric. This is esophageal. Good difference there. And this is esophagus. I think we were at gastric, weren't we? Weren't we just at gastric? So 20. Yeah. 20. Yep. I like that one. C. For sure. I don't think I have those really marked out 100% well like I should, because this one is gastric, and this one's esophageal, and then this one's esophagus. So those are more like the key terms, because the motility is in all of these, but the differences is the esophageal and the gastric and the esophagus. Yeah. And this one's the duodenal. Yeah. I need to have those marked instead of worrying about the motility. I got a lot of what to highlight in each code from the COC people, and so it's nice to audit their stuff too and see what I could improve on. Yep. All right, I think I got some more. Let's see what else we got. Oh, yeah. All right. Let's look at these codes. What have we got here? I've got a 3-4 and a 3-4. I got 2 3-4s. One of them has an extra number and one of them doesn't. So maybe this one will have don't use with that code or to use it with that code. That would be where I'd start out with, is the 98034 and see what I can use it for. 90834. Over here, psychotherapy, what I need. It doesn't say to use with a code or not, so the 36 that was underneath it is a add-on code. This is for 45 minutes with a patient, 45-minute patient with an evaluation E&M visit. Oh, instead of adding an E&M visit from the front, like if you were doing, I wonder what you could be doing separately in addition to the current row. I wonder if you could be doing like, does that mean you could check them out for their sinuses or something? What does that mean, E&M code? Very interesting. What would a psychotherapy session need an E&M code for? Interesting. Anyway, there's our question. Psychotherapy, 45 minutes, patients, outpatient office. What would you code? Our description said 45 minutes, and it said outpatient office. What do y'all think the answer is? Miss Jen, for a better view on your books, you should use Oakley's Lab USB camera. I would love to, and you know, I bought one of those cameras. One of these teacher cameras. This one. The problem is I can't use TikTok Live on a USB camera. TikTok Live only happens on a cell phone. I can't get TikTok to play on my computer, my laptop. Now I can view TikToks on my computer. The option to go live on TikTok on a desktop computer is not available to us creators. We can only go live on our cell phone, which is what I'm holding in this stupid crane, is another cell phone that I can go live on. I've tried downloading BlueStacks and some other programs onto my laptop, which I can go live through those systems on my desktop, but it won't let me pick another camera. It makes me use the camera on my cell phone still. It is a nightmare. It is truly a nightmare. And I can't even broadcast my cell phone to my desktop, which I have decks and all kinds of other things that come with these Samsung computers that are cell phones that will, like this DeX program, I can transmit my cell phone to any TV, any computer, and view from there, but still it's making me pick the camera from my cell phone. I can't go live on this damn laptop, plug in my USB camera that is teacher, and it's for books. It's for books. It's for what I'm doing here. Plus, y'all could look at the questions on my computer without me doing this. I could just switch screens to this, and then I could switch to my USB camera, and then you'd see this in the format it's supposed to, because it makes it kind of look like a PDF when you look through a teacher's camera. But TikTok won't give us the ability to go live on a desktop. It's a pain. Just try it out yourself. Bring up TikTok on your desktop, and I don't know, you have to have 1,000 followers, but Maybe they will one of these days. I'm trying to see if I can show you, but I've got too many other things open right now and y'all would kill me to sew how many things I have open on my computer right now. It's crazy, but I'm still working on it. I do have a school, like a professional teacher's camera. I just can't figure out how to get my lives to project not from the camera. Stop. There we go. Psychotherapy, 45 minutes long, is just simply C on this one, for sure. There we go. What do you think of this one? Look at this. We've got 1, 1, 2, and 4. Yeah, Connor. I know. It'd be like, can your primary care physician also be your psychotherapist? I mean, I guess people specialize in lots of things. I just kind of wondering, I've never seen that in medicine in 20 years. Why? I don't know. I'm just like, what is he going to do? Sutures or fix your injured knee too? It just seems like a very weird thing to do. Psychotherapy is pretty involved. And then it's not just like counseling, for depression or whatever, or postmenopausal or post-OB, That's, I don't know. It's just an interesting question. I'd love to see somebody that does that. Can you move? Yeah, I can. I can move the answers up. There we go. So definitely going to be something to go along with this 65, right? They've dissected this 65 and made it all by itself times 2 with other codes. So let's go see if there's any notes on this one that says we can't use it in that sort of way. So 963. 963. Nine, 6, 3, 6, 5, right here. This one, it says to report it with the 66 is supposed to be reported with the 65, of course. Report 66 if you have something greater than 30 minutes beyond an hour increments. Got lots of parenthetical notes down here to use things together or not. We need to figure out how long the infusion is for sure, so we need to go check this out up here. So she has Paget's disease and she needs to have infusion. It started at 12:30 and ended at 4:11. And look at that. They put 1 minute there and then 11 minutes there. So what's our guideline on infusion? What's going on there? Infusion therapy will have these guidelines here and there that will tell you more about how to use these codes appropriately. Come on. There we go. And we do have some do nots. Do not report the 65 through 79. As part of a procedure. We're definitely not doing part of a procedure, so that's okay. So This is initial up to 1 hour. How many hours do we have? She started at 12:30. Might as well say, because there's 15 minutes on there, and I doubt anything is going to have anything minute-wise. So we're going from hour to hour to hour. So anything less than an hour is just going to be eaten, right? So each additional hour, each additional sequel infusion of a new drug or substance. So if they switch drugs, right? Maybe. Yeah. So we didn't switch drugs. We only have the one drug, the AREDIA, and it began with that therapy and ended with that therapy. So we would not use the 7 code for this one because she stayed on the same infusion. So she started 12:30, 1:30, 2:30, 3:30. It's about all we can code for, right? Maybe. What do we do with that last? We've got 45 minutes. What do we do with that one? Let's see. We've got our 65 and 66. How many can we cut off? What's our cutoff on that one? She's got almost. She is scaring the heck out of 4 hours, isn't she? I'd say she'd be doing 4 hours. So 4 hours. 4 hours. And the one that we can only use the 65 and the 66. We know C is not going to be your correct answer. We know that is not going to be a correct answer. We know we're not going to code an additional code written out like that. We're going to do the ×2 because it is the add-on code. So just looking at the way they have these written out, there's no possible way. I was trying to figure out how we code that last hour. How did we get to that 3rd hour? But I guess we don't really need to know the real explanation other than I know we did more than 1 hour. We're not going to do the 65 ×2 because it's not an add-on code. We wouldn't do a core code like that. We would add a modifier to it to change the scenario. We definitely are not doing this because the add-on code makes you have to do the times. So just looking at them logically, this has to be the only answer. I'm just not sure how they got, if that's for the 1 hour, how did they get 3 more hours out of that time zone? Because it's technically 3 hours and 3 minutes, somewhere around there, 44 minutes. So I haven't seen anything in those infusion guidelines that says cut off, like you have to eat the 15 minutes, or they should have some sort of way of telling you how to code that properly if it is 42 or 43 minutes. But looking at the numbers logically, we know that we do the plus sign with the ×3s or whatever. So B is our only answer that's logical for that one. For sure. I hope that's helpful. I've got our favorite codes, guys, over here in Lab and Path. Y'all remember these are very difficult. People have a harder time with these. The 88, 307. You remember these, guys? The level 3, the level 4, and the level 5 of your microscope pathology, where you're just doing a gross microscopic look at whatever they cut off of somebody. This is like you're going to be removing like whole organs or big body parts, like just like they removed a whole brain here. Big things, major things. That's level 5. Level 4 is going to be like they did a whole cervix or a lungs, muscles, placenta, those kind of things. Level 3, you got abscesses and meniscus and cyst and tags and debridement from stuff, visceral stuff. And then level 2 can be like fingers and toes and nerves, stuff from plastic surgeries, stuff like that. And then level 1 is just a visual look at it, not really under a microscope, just looking at the organ or piece that they cut off, whatever it is. These can be hard. They're done by the level of the difficulty of getting the item removed, right? So level 5, removing the brain, is pretty hard. You've got to cut through all that skull and somebody's dead when that happens. That's pretty, And then you've got, lymph nodes and other more intricate areas to remove and get to, bladders and things. And then you've got other ones that after you've decided the difficulty of the procedure, then you've got to do these word searches to find the body parts. And that could take a while because they've got columns and columns of things. And what they call one thing here can be different than what they call it in the exam question. So you got to be able to translate what they've said in the question to find what it is here. One of our other questions we had was we had an artery. Well, artery can be in multiple locations, right? You need to make sure you know exactly what they removed. This is an artery biopsy. What our other previous question had was some plaque they had removed from an artery, and that's what they were looking at. So also they can be in 2 different places, but then you need to make sure exactly what they mean that they're looking at in each section. So my question for today on this section is that they did an oophorectomy. Okay? An oophorectomy. Which answer would be correct for that one? And would it be the 07, 05, 04, or even the 00? Surgical pathology of an oophorectomy. What would y'all code it as? Which one has that body part listed? I got 10 of you watching. Can anybody find oophorectomy? Oophorectomy. And they go on to the next page too, so any more guesses? Here's the answers. Just looking at the answers for process of elimination too. Get those up here so y'all can see them. So the 4 and the 5 are super close to each other. And then the 00 and the 07 are kind of far away. Even in the coding book, we've got 00 here. 02's here. We skip 03. 04 and 05 are close together. And then 07 is right behind it. So really 4, 5, and 7 are closer than the 00. Just looking at them that way, I could get rid of 00. And you could probably look at whatever was removed without doing a microscope. And the question isn't specific. The question doesn't even say, it does say surgical pathology. So they all say surgical pathology, no matter what level it is, even the 00. It's just that you got to know the procedure of an oophorectomy. What are they removing? And what would they do with it when they removed it? Would they just look at it visually? Or would the pathologist be required to dissect it and look at it under a microscope and give an interpretation based on the microscope and visual? Or are they only going to look visually at it? So it's removal of ovaries. So if they removed your ovaries, do you want somebody just to look at it and tell you what color it is? Or do you want them to dissect it and tell you if it's cancerous or not? So think of it that way. And then do a word search for what they removed. Meaning, what is an oophorectomy? What did they remove? Now do your word search. Now you'll be able to find your level. Yep. Oh, Jess, she didn't know. I'm sorry. It's okay. I'll post it on the YouTube. Hopefully it's records. If it doesn't, I'll go back over it. And y'all, I can go live again tomorrow night. Hubby's working all night. He's closing. So I'll do a live tomorrow. And I'll be able to be on all day tomorrow too to help out. And if the live doesn't record, I can go over what we went over earlier. Because I had a cool cardiology one that was really neat. 1 week from tomorrow, Jess. Dissect. So, where is ovaries? Ovaries are right here. They're under level 4. If I can get my camera to view. Camera. There we go. Level 4. Ovary is right here. Don't let them confuse you when they have fallopian tubes over here. Nope. I don't think there's any ovaries or anything over here. But yeah, we've got ovaries right here. Word search there. Put you at level 4, which is 05, which is B. B is our answer for that one, for sure. You're doing your exam tomorrow? Oh my gosh, Jess. Not Jess, but Coral? Is that Coral? Oh my gosh, if you remember anything from your exam, any CPT codes that you struggled with, or hit picks, or anatomy or vocabulary, and let us know. I can add it to our exam list that I go over in my lives during the week, and let everybody else know to be on the lookout for that. And it would make a big difference on somebody's life for sure, because sometimes, and many people, are not passing by one little old question. It's one question, 2 points away. They got a 68. So if we can help them out with one question and they pass it next time, that'll make a huge difference. So good luck tomorrow too. Oh my gosh. Mercury and Jupiter. Oh my gosh. Whatever we get for the Creator Fund will be given out as free notes from my notes to anybody who is in need. Yes, I need exam info on B and D. I posted my TikTok, which has exam B on it today on YouTube. So it's there, my last live. I think you were there for most of it. Yeah, exam B. And I don't have any info from D that I know of, but I have info from a recent online one where they don't tell you what exam you're getting that we know of. So it could have been D. Don't know. But you've got this. You got this. I hope you do very, very well tomorrow, and I hope whatever you've seen here helps you. Here is another question. If I can get it to focus. Come on, camera. There we go. So for process of elimination, I would get rid of C, not C, A, right? Do I have my draw tool up? Let's see. Yep. That one is just like a 65, 70 when all these are 69s, right? And then we've got a 00, an 02, and an 04. So I would run straight to those. 96900. Nine 6900. We've got special dermatological procedures. We got some sort of something procedure. Ultraviolet. ACTINO. Did anybody know that that word means ultraviolet? That's a really good prefix right there. I don't know if I know that. Because I was thinking acetone, like get you an acid pill. When I saw that, and I saw AC, right? Ultraviolet. And then we had 02 and 04. We've got the pluck some hairs and clip some hairs, and then a whole body integumentary photograph. Oh no, nobody's whole body and photographing me for nothing. Okay, so let's see what we got. We do have the ultraviolet light therapy, which was our 00. So C's our answer for that one. Super easy. Not too bad on that one. Just something I've never run across and haven't done. The one that was on my CPC exam was the laser therapy, and it was you go by the square footage that they did. When lasers came out, gosh, what was that, 2001? Yeah, 9/11 had just happened, and we got our first laser machine in the office. And we hired an esthetician to go in it, and everybody was getting their hairs removed. That was the biggest thing. I remember practicing on one of those machines and learning how to use it. It's like snapping a rubber band against your skin. That's what it feels like. All right. Let me check on those kids again. I hear some foolishness going on. What is going on?
Can't just slam the doors and get over it.
What?
He said maybe we can draw it to one of us.
What did he make him do? Or not do? What's he being sassy about?
He wants to eat John's raisin and grab as his. And it was like, John probably said something, he was like, make.
I think I said, I got him a big old box of Honey Nut Cheerios. I got Grandma's a box of Cheerios. I got John's box of Raisin Bran.
Can I spend the night tomorrow?
Yes.
Janet says he was going.
I know he said he was about to. Okay. Let me finish up my live. Ooh. Sorry. One of the kids got in trouble and got their computer taken away by the older brother for back talking. Ooh, Lee. All right, here's another one. We got this one. Looks like we got a lot of 15s in here. And then our other one is 20. We need to see if we're going to use the 15 with other codes, or it's going to be by itself. So 95115. 95. Nine, 5, 1, 1, 5. Ooh, we're under allergens, immunotherapy. So I don't see any parenthetical notes to say don't use something with something. And our test question had added on things. Let's see, we've got no provisional extract, problem-focused exam, low MDM. Well, professional services, simple injection, so what do we do with these when we do have an office visit that goes with it? Because it looks like these are just professional services giving an extract. Allergy, immunotherapy, no provision of extract, as well as a problem-focused history exam with low MDM. Yeah. What y'all's guess on that one? What are we doing here? The question doesn't state whether the patient is new or established, so you always make them established if you have no reference. That may help a little bit. What do you do when you add an E&M code to a professional service? Do you need a modifier or not? That will be your difference. Yes, you need your modifier. Don't forget your modifier 25. Anytime you do your regular office visit with something else that is specific and special, allergy injections included, the well child exam that is also being seen for a baseball injury or finger slammed in the door in the car when you getting out for the doctor's appointment. There's all kinds of things that can happen. They stepped in glass this morning. I did that twice as a kid. I'd run out of the house without shoes on constantly, and I guess we lived where there was a lot of broken glass often at one point, and I kept getting that stuff stuck in my foot. So I'd go in for well child exams to give me my shots, and then also pull out a little bit of glass that visit. Do it again next time. I was a problem child, for sure. That is all the examples I had. I hope this has been helpful, guys. I hope I didn't confuse y'all too much with that cardiology one, but I thought that was super fun to try to explain. I wish I knew why that left approach means you don't code the procedure approach and all that mess. You only get to code for what you're doing inside the arteries. That is just fascinating to me. Why don't they get any kind of payment for even setting up, doing the procedure, and getting there? They don't. They only get paid for what they're doing to the particular artery once they get to where they're going, if they do a left approach. Must be an easy thing. That was in these pages on 727 and 726. According to our guideline here, the left main coronary artery approach do not have recognized branches for opening purposes, for reporting purposes. So we don't report the going in there on the left side of the coronary artery. Once we get there, if we do some stent placements, we code the stent placements. We had a right and then we had two lefts. So we coded the two different branches of the left. Now our right, I believe, had a couple of stents in it through the right, and we didn't get a ×2. You only get the branch that you're in. And then we moved left to another branch and we did a stent there. We got paid for that. Then we moved to another branch and we got paid for that left branch. But the ×2-ness and stuff doesn't happen, and you don't get a main code for getting there. You only code the stents that got there when we were here. It's just included. Well, it was very interesting. Oh, computer, please stop that. All right. I can do more live tomorrow, another live. I can start it earlier too. I can do it, at any point tomorrow. If anybody wants anything any sooner. And please let me know what sections you would like to go over also. And if you want to join our Facebook chat group, you need to ask me on Messenger. I'm not sure how I set the Messenger chat group up, but I'm TT Coral. She's the one. She just messaged me. She is wanting to join our Messenger group. Yay. So I have helped you out before, it looks like, too. So I just ran and opened my phone up. So come find me on Messenger at Jen Brewer, and then I will add you to our chat group where we talk every day and share information. It's all free. I'm happy to help you pass your CPC exam. If you want to know how to prep your books like I have, and box and annotate and all that good stuff that comes along with all this stuff, I have screenshots of this and how to do it on my website, which I'm trying to bring up for you. It's Medical Coding by Jen, and I have the screenshots there. I have a free E&M exam too on the front of the page. If you just scroll down just a little piece, once you get to that website, just scroll down. The E&M exam is right there on the front. You can also schedule tutoring with me individually, all on your own, with me in the books if you want to, but you don't have to. All the repeat lives that I do here on TikTok, I try to do 3 a week. Mondays are a for sure thing, always every Monday at 6:30 Arizona time zone. And hey, this Sunday, all you people in the United States gets to move forward or fall back or something. Arizona doesn't move. Our time stays the same, but I think we're going to be closer in time zones than we ever have, and we'll be that way for 6 months. So that's pretty cool. I wish we were all in the same time zone, but that's coming up this Sunday. So don't forget to move your clock back on Sunday. So Monday, our live will be closer in time zones. So that'll be neat. I do the TikToks here 3 times a week, always on a Monday, usually Wednesday, and then I either do Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I wish I was more consistent, but I never do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. How about that? Messenger, I'm on all day long. If you do want a copy of my notes, so you can just copy and go page by page and write your notes, I have the 2022 guidelines done for ICD10. Super cool section, plus it's all hand typed. You don't have to read my handwriting. And it comes with the top 10 guidelines to know for your exam. And each one of the guidelines has a screenshot of the book, inside the book, of where they're talking in that guideline, of where it is. And then I also have examples, like coding examples, with that guideline to explain how it will look when you go to answer those questions in the CPC exam. So you'll code this way. If it's this scenario, you'll code this way. If it's that scenario, and pretty cool. I took 33 pages of guidelines and turned it into 150 pages of my madness. So hopefully it's helpful, but at least it's typed and you don't have to read my handwriting. And plus I didn't have to take a picture of this and then turn it into a PDF and then upload it. It's all one document typed. So it's pretty cool. All that is on Etsy, but if you, I prefer to teach you and let you do your own books your own way, but sometimes there's a time crunch and you just need to know everything right away. So they're there if you want them, but you don't have to buy anything from me at all. I'm happy to help everybody get what they need. These guidelines, though, these are the guidelines. They'll give you coding tips. They'll do examples And they'll also tell you about issues if you're going to code that particular code or section of the book, and like sepsis, what can come up that can trick you. So when I tell you, I typed it and I went through a lot to show you a lot. The guidelines are they're the core of what you're going to do in life and career. And not a lot of people went through these step by step and learned them all. And if you get into coding and you really know the guidelines really well, you could end up in a manager position really quick, or take over a position for people that didn't take the time to read their guidelines and learn them properly. And these notes will give you a better understanding of the guidelines throughout your career, because the information is going to be here. It hasn't changed. And I'm going to show you things that you can continue on learning as you're going through your career, because a lot of it's super fast, and I know you've got to know just enough to pass this exam, but you can refer back to these all the time. I have the entire guidelines is all right here, and I've highlighted what needs to be highlighted for you. You can go through and read the guidelines, but then I also added in everything you need to know about that guideline and what's could help you out in your career later on for sure. So I'm proud of it. I like it. And then sequencing throughout the entire guideline is one of the biggest issues. What do I code first? Well, it'd always be the green code. And I went over through here and colored everything in each section of whatever guideline it is, and it'll have the word or the code, because sometimes they'll say code this particular thing always first, like a fracture will always be first. It's in green, and then blue is second. Then you've got purple is third, blue, dark blue is fourth, and then red is fifth. So you'll always know how to sequence throughout the entire section based off our coding stuff I got listed. So that's pretty cool. Plus, I've added it to the reference material always over here too. Like this one, Parkinson's disease, you'll code first, and then the dementia will come afterwards. And you'll see green, blue. You know green is first. You'll know right away throughout every little section what's coded first from there on out. So it's pretty cool. And I'm sure I could add more to it. And if y'all find any errors, let me know. Typos, things like that. But I like it. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to end this live, and I will see y'all all day tomorrow. And I have some homework to do. I don't even know if I can still do it. I got to see. I got somebody's taking a AAPC. They're taking a community college course. And I was supposed to help her code, but I bet she had to turn in her homework before I was able to help her. Coded the first 8 patients, but she had 21 patients to code per week. And she was given these handwritten old-timey charts from like when they had ICD10 books. I'm telling you, the teacher didn't even white out, and she didn't get rid of the ICD-9 codes that were on these old documents. So you're making your current students in 2021 code from documentation that you fixed for your students from before, when they had ICD-9, which is over a decade ago. ICD-10's been out and used in the United States for over 10 years now. So you're giving your students stuff to code from 10 years ago. I was just really disappointed in what they were giving these students, but I told her I'd help her code the rest of it, so I got to get finished on that. But if you're going to give current students something to code off of for 2021, 2022 education, you need to have them screenshots, EHRs, because everything's in the computer now, right? Why would you have handwritten pieces of paper? I don't know. Anyway, I could go on ranting about that forever. I feel so bad for some of y'all that are taking these courses. They're painfully inept at teaching you anything that is relative to coding nowadays. So I am here to help any way I can, though, for y'all to breeze any part of all this coding mess that we need to jump through to get y'all's certification. So I want to see everybody certified and working for sure. Preferably remote from home. That would be great. So you can cook dinner and code at the same time, I think. I've worked remote from home for 8 years now, so I enjoy it. But I do auditing. I don't do coding. I don't like coding, but I like helping people pass their CPC exam. So that's what I'm here for, and I'm here to help any way I can. Let me know what you want on the live tomorrow, and I will see y'all then. Good night, Jess. See you later. And good luck tomorrow.